Hi, welcome to another episode of Baby Narc. I wanted to talk a little bit today about narcissists in the workplace, narcissistic bosses and coworkers, and even clientele. Um, the first thing I want to say is if you are working for a boss who's a narc. Now, I know anybody in any kind of powerful position, there is an element that happens to people when they get a little bit of power, no matter how much it is. They could be the key holder at the convenience store, and now all of a sudden, they're the boss. Um, that happens to all of us. I've been a boss many times, and I have made mistakes where I, and you know me, I'm an empath. I want everybody. I'm more of a team leader instead of the boss. I'm always like, what's the best for the good of the whole. But I have made mistakes as a boss where you know, do it my way, kind of thing. Much of the time, mostly out of frustration, because when I was in those leadership positions, the ones that I made mistakes in, I had people under me who were a hot mess. So it was more, I mean, I know it sounds like I'm blaming them, but, you know, I, it wasn't my forte to bring down the hammer on people. I don't like to lead like that. I am very much, once again, I am a project manager type style of management where let's figure out the best way to do things that works for everybody. So I do get that people who, we don't go to school, all the things that we need to be taught in school, this would be one of them, is how to be a manager or a boss or, a team leader. So, once you open up your own business, if you've never done that before, if you've, this is the first time you've ever had a promotion like this and now you've got people working under you, it's tricky. It is. It's very tricky. And it's very stressful, and it's hard not to take your stress out on the people that are under you, but that's wrong though. So, that being said, but if you are actually dealing with an actual narcissist for a boss, I will say this: you will never, they will never see your value. Never. You could come up with $1 million idea, actually have that idea implemented within the company, make the company or the boss, if he's a single business, she, single business owner, make them the $1 million, and they will still never see it. They will either downplay it because, once again, narcissists are jealous. So if you're the one instead of them who came up with this fantastic idea, most of the time, because see, here's the thing about narcs, they are a whirlwind of destruction, and they fuck up everything, every relationship, every idea, every, you know, anything. They just fuck it up. They just do. That is, they are a ball of chaos. They, it's habitual, unless they get major therapy, but that is just how they deal with things, and that's how they've always dealt with things, and that's how they'll always deal with things. So they are always going to fuck shit up. So when someone else comes up with an idea that in their crazy narc mind, they're like, oh, I should have come up with that idea. No, you shouldn't have. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck who came up with the $1 million idea that's going to get this company rocking and rolling? Who gives a fuck? I don't care if a fucking stranger in another country called up and said, hey, I don't know you guys, but here's a great idea. I don't give a fuck. If it's a great idea, it's a great idea. Let's fucking do it. But they don't think that way. They would rather have the company completely, disband and liquidate and be out on the streets than implement your idea. you know? The other element is now we're talking you came up with a great idea that really would work, not some, harebrained scheme, but something that's actually going to work. You came up with it. So one, they're going to downplay it and be like, they're going to be jealous of it somehow. So they're going to somehow not do the idea just to punish you. Yeah, don't take $1 million. Punish me instead. Or they're going to steal your idea. Now that's so it's tricky. It all has to deal with how jealous they are of your idea and how much they believe in your idea. If they're more jealous of your idea, that idea will go nowhere. Even if it would benefit them, boom, done, squashed. If they think it's a great idea, then they are going to somehow twist it to where not only did you not come up with the idea, but they'll probably somehow think in their mind and tell people that you were against it. Yeah. Crazy, right? Crazy. Okay. So, the other element that could possibly happen now, this is an intermingling of narcissistic coworkers. And we always call people who side with narcissists the flying monkeys. But in the workplace, all those people that we used to call, before we all got into this narcissist thing, we used to call them kiss asses, brown nosers. So narcissists always somehow, because, they're so manipulative, they are somehow able to trick people who are borderline nasty. Like they're not actually narcissists, but they're just not good people. And they can manipulate those people. They can manipulate them forever. Now, good people, empaths, all of us, narc abuse victims and survivors, they can manipulate us for what seems like forever. But eventually, we we get their game and we get out. But flying monkeys, they'll stay with the narcissist forever. They, sometimes we discard the narcissist, it's kind of back and forth. But a flying monkey will never discard the narcissist. They will be discarded by the narcissist, but they will never discard them. They will hang around that person unless they find another narcissist to latch onto, because they still have those narcissistic tendencies. But if they don't, they will be at the ass end of that narc until the end of time. And they will throw you under the bus. So, if you came up with the idea and they knew about it before the narc boss did, they'll take credit for that. Yeah, I totally will. Or, or back to the boss, the third element that they might fuck you over with your $1 million idea is they will transfer the praise and everything else onto one of their flying monkeys and think in their narc head and tell everyone that your coworker came up with that idea. Mm-hmm. And if you call them out on it in any sort of way, the very first thing that they will do is they will continue to defend the flying monkey and be like, well, maybe you guys came up with it together. Maybe that last, staff meeting you had, maybe, you guys talked about it. They will try to fuck with your head and try to get you to believe that you didn't even come up with the $1 million idea. It's insanity. Absolute insanity. Okay, so here's what I say. Now, dealing with a narcissist as a romantic partner, that is, unless you have kids with them, but that is technically the easiest narcissist to get away from. That is the one narc that you can just walk away clean. Sell your property, sell the house, give them the house, and just get the fuck out. Once again, unless you have kids. But family members are even more difficult to get away from because they are your family. And with family, it could be all kinds of elements. It could be that you live there, that financially and housing wise, that you have to stick around the narc, or I mean, and it's your blood relative, so now that's another tier of being hard to get away from. Then I'm sorry I don't know where to look. I got a new phone, so it feels like I'm like, should I look over there? Should I look over there? So I'm not watching myself. I'm just don't know where to look, so I'm not like crazy. Um, the third difficult narc to get away from is a job. Now, the lesser to get away from in the workplace is a narc coworker or even a client, because if you have an ongoing client that you're always having problems with who's a narcissist, that brings a weird element. Customer's always right. And if they are a high paying client and a long term client, your boss will get rid of you way before they get rid of that client. I mean, come on. So that's difficult too. Then your flying monkey, or it could either be you have a narcissist boss and the flying monkey, the subgrade narcissists themselves, or you have a decent boss, a good boss, and the coworker is the narcissist. That's tricky because narcissists and flying monkeys, who are just like a baby version of a baby narc themselves, they are manipulators, and they are going to fuck you over and throw you under the bus and make everything look like it's your fault and that you're the problem, that you need to be gone, not them. So it's tricky if in the workplace. And then, worst narc to try to get away from is a narcissist boss, because you gotta work. I mean, starve, you live on the street, you live in a tent, so it's tricky. And for anybody out there rolling your eyes and being like, oh, why can't you people just get away from these narcissists? I mean, trust me, we want to. It's not like we're like, yay, narcissists. No, that's not what's going on. We have just been bullied and abused and tricked and mind fucked. They fuck with our heads so much. We're not dealing, it's not like a narcissist comes up to you and says, okay, in 5 minutes, I'm about to fuck you over. And then you're like, yay, I can't wait, hurry. Come on. It's not like that. They say and do things for such an extended period of time, and it's very shocking. Like, I always tell you that all the things that Brian does and says, I get that feeling. I'm like, what? What did you just do? What did you just say? It's all psychological. We're not robots. If we were robots, we would be like, narcissist is making terrible decisions and abusing me, get away. I mean, it's not like that. So we just get entangled with these people. It's like a turtle in a sea net. It's like they can't get out themselves, and the more they roll around, they get more and more entangled until a fisherman comes and helps them and cuts them out and saves them, or they drown. And many narc abuse victims are drowning, and some don't make it out. I mean, like, they take their lives. Or just their life has been taken from them, like they aren't even they're a shell of the person that they used to be. So here's my suggestion. Other than fuck that job, go live on the street, fuck it. I mean, at one point you might be like, yeah, okay, I don't even care at this point, it's so bad. But here's what I suggest. In one of my other videos, I said, you need to run background checks on anybody that you're about to work for. I mean, they're going to do it to you, trust me. And look up reviews of that company. Now, of course, we live in a society where, Everybody has something negative to say. That company could be the greatest company on earth, but there's going to be somebody who didn't like the service there or whatever, or the product. So, I mean, if you're reading hundreds of good reviews and then there's a few bad ones, I mean, you got to, take it with a grain of salt. But if you online, read those reviews, not be like, they were supposed to open at 10 and they didn't open till 10:30. I mean, whatever. But if it's like, the owner of this company, blah, 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 you gotta think, hmm. So they treat the customers like that. And then oftentimes you'll find within those reviews, you'll find ex-employees, saying stuff, because employees love to do that. And there's another website, I forgot which one it is, shoot, where you can, maybe it's Monster. That's funny, right? Maybe it's Monster, where employees will write reviews about their experience with the company. I don't know, you have to look that up, but that's another avenue too. If you're really considering, I'm not saying like, a side hustle thing where you don't care, but if you're really like opting for, a new career or same career at a new, business company, I really think that you should look into it before you sign that contract or show up on your first day. Just make sure. And then the other thing is, the whole time you work there. Okay, if you immediately, because now we're getting educated. So if you start with a company and you immediately get red flags from coworkers, boss, or both, hit the brakes. Hit the brakes. Just don't even fucking waste any more time. Because the thing about narcissism is it never gets better, it never stays the same, it always gets worse. It just does. I mean, that is just the the natural way that it goes. I don't know, the cycle. So, but if you got mind fucked and tricked, because here's another thing. Oh, here's another red flag to look for, bosses and coworkers, is love bombing you in the beginning. Oh, it's so great to have you on board. We've never had anybody here with your expertise. Oh my gosh, you come so highly recommended. And you're thinking to yourself, highly recommended? What, you mean by my aunt who gave me a reference? Like, what do you mean highly recommended? Who in this industry have you I mean, what? What? You know what I'm saying? And oh, we're gonna transfer your 401k, and then that never happens. Um, we're eventually here, future faking. In 6 months, you'll be driving a company car. In 12 months, you're going to have a corner office. If you work here for 3 years, we start giving you 2-month paid vacations, not even just paid like your time, but actually we will buy your vacation. You can go to the Bahamas and we'll pay for it. Like if they start the future faking like that, where it's extreme, where it doesn't make any sense for that position, I mean, of course, every position is, yes, if you work here for 6 months, we will give you a review and you possibly will get a raise. If they say it like that, that's normal. Or, we give our top salespeople a company car, but you have to turn those numbers in. You have to hit those targets before you can get a company car. But if they, that's normal. But if they're like, oh, you're gonna have a company car, you're gonna own this company one day, you know what I mean? Like, we're bullshit. Run away, because that means that that means that off the jump they're lying to you, and liars cannot be trusted. Come on. And you can't put okay, let's say you've, thrown your resume out online to every company possible and you land this job. Well, if you stick around there at the wrong place with the wrong people, eventually getting abused, then now you've turn down those other offers. You know what I'm saying? So, like, just don't get yourself in a mess, because we're talking about your job, we're talking about your income, we're talking about how to eat on a 3 to 5 meal daily basis. Can't do that if you're unemployed. So, okay. So that's my first advice. My first advice is check that company out. Check them out. Second advice is, if you do accept the offer and there's red flags, get out immediately. Just immediately. Hell, don't even give them a reference, or, well, I don't know, whatever you want to do about that, but just get the fuck away. Now, third thing, let's say that you've already been at this company and you already know it's a shit show. Start recording every correspondence that you have with whoever the problem is, the boss, the coworker, both, or the client. If you're, I mean, it's tricky, but every time your boss calls you on your cell phone, I would say, hey, would it be okay if we text, right? I mean, you don't have to give an excuse. Just say, hey, I prefer texting. If the boss wants to have a private meeting with you out back, I would, oh, no, that's tricky, but I don't know, you just have to figure it out. But I would not have private meetings with that boss or that coworker. Your flying monkey coworker who wants to go have drinks. Man, I would not do that. And I would not have any outside correspondence with anybody at your workplace. You really should. Of course, I know. I mean, we work, and actually, I've met long-term friends and a couple of good boyfriends from jobs. So I know it's hard to say, leave these people alone. But the world we live in now, where, man, everybody's a freaking narcissist, you kind of really need to protect yourself, and maybe really consider being buddies with anybody from work, even your boss, on a personal level. And plus, it blurs the lines anyway. Even if you're not even dealing with bad people, narcissists, flying monkeys, nothing, just normal people. If you go have drinks with your boss on Friday night and you have a little bit too much to drink and you start saying some shit that you shouldn't be saying, you don't think that's going to bite you in the ass? I mean, come on. or you go out with a coworker and you start, revealing company secrets that are, in your pay grade and above their pay grade. You don't think they're going to run tell? Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. And it's even just human nature. It's even not that they're necessarily being a dickhead. It's just human nature. We're a bunch of gossip mongers on this planet, what I'm saying? So I would just be really careful about that. But back to, if you really are dealing with narcissists in any fashion, I would put everything in writing, every correspondence, and clientele too. I want to put them in there too, because you could have a client who tries to befriend you, and they're a narcissist. They're going to throw you under the bus too. You never really know what the true relationship is with people. That client who's bad mouthing your boss constantly, you could find out after a whirlwind of chaos that they've actually been golfing buddies for 25 years, and they're tight. And they might be bad mouthing your boss, but the second you say anything negative about your boss to that client, they're going to run tell. So you got to be careful. I mean, basically, adult life is constant high school. We human beings are, I don't care if we're 85 years old. I don't care if we're 85 years old living in a nursing home. That place is going to run like high school. It's just how we are. And then you throw narcissists into the mix and it gets even more chaotic. So I would have everything in writing: text messages, emails, if you can record your Zoom calls, anything that you have as a recorded permanent evidence of anything, even good and bad. Because also, here's the other thing it's going to do, it's going to make you stop and think a minute. If you're typing an email about to go off on, client, boss, or coworker, motherfucker, it's going to stop you because you'll be like, oh shit, I'm actually right. Oh shit, oh, that can get into the wrong hands. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to help prevent you from getting in the middle of drama. And then also, it is your proof that if shit goes sideways and you do have to go to HR, or you do have to get a lawyer, or a lawsuit gets put on you, now you've got proof. Now you've got proof of all of the abuse and people stealing your ideas, and you not getting all of the promotions, accolades, tangible things like a company car that you were promised. And that's another thing. When your boss is love bombing you and saying, "Oh, if you're the top salesperson, blah blah blah, you're gonna get a company car," I would say, "Hey, can we make a contract about that?" That way, let's say your boss, while he's love bombing you, he's like, you have to have 98% sales volume for 6 months straight, and then you get a company car. And he's telling you this. Put that shit in writing. Because if it is true, no problem, they will. And then you've got it. And then you've got proof. And then when you hit your target of 98% and you don't get that company car, now you got evidence. The other thing it's going to do is if it is love bombing, the boss will be like, "Oh yeah, I'll do that later. Yeah, we really should do that." Yeah, and then they don't. So yeah, so get everything in writing, save that shit, or recording, recorded voice, yeah, any voicemails, any kind of abuse you're getting, and also another thing that narcissists love to do, they love to hammer you. So you could be, on a Sunday afternoon having a barbecue with your family and getting 25 text messages or voicemails or phone calls from your boss basically abusing you, have all of that documented. Keep that, and don't let anybody know that you're documenting it, I mean, in a sort of way like, "Oh, I'm about to get you," not like that. Just for your own safety, just record all of it. And here's the other thing. I was watching another video today. I gotta start subscribing to the wonderful narcissist teachers on YouTube, so that on my subscription list you can look and check these people out. But she was saying, she's a doctor, she's really cool, she's so cute. She was saying that even saving some of that stuff, technically, if you did have some sort of legal issue, um, uh, technically anything on those company servers, even I think even if you have a company cell phone, technically they own that and you couldn't present it in court. Like, it could be every email that you've ever had proving what they've been doing to you, and it won't be submitted as evidence because they own it. So I would print all that shit out, print it out, yeah, screenshot it, wherever you take a picture of it with your camera, whatever you got to do. Keep that shit so you have proof, and take that shit home. Don't leave it at work, because what if some shit goes down while you're at work? What if you show up, at 8 a.m. and by 10:30 there's absolute mad chaos and you're either being fired or quitting, and you're storming out and you forget to go in your desk and get all that shit, now you're fucked. So just protect yourself. I'm sorry it has to be that way. I really am. I wish everybody was cool. I wish you didn't have to protect yourself. I wish that you could say whatever you want. I wish you could talk shit about people, and then I wish you could say, "Hey, don't say anything," and the person not really say anything. And I wish that nobody was out to get anybody. I wish that if you had a great idea at work, everybody would be like, "That's a great idea. Okay, what do we do?" Or if it wasn't a great idea, be like, "Look, no offense, but it's not the best idea. Come up with something better. I believe you can. Whatever. I wish it was that way and that you would take all the credit. And I wish that if you're at 98% sales volume, you did get your company car. I wish all of these things were just easy, but it's not. We live in a society, because I always say narcs are not born, they're made. And now I live in America, so, I can't speak for everybody, but it seems to me from what I see online from people from every country, it seems that more narcissists are getting made every day because the family dynamic just isn't there anymore. It used to be two loving parents, and I'm not saying they have to be necessarily man and woman, whatever, it doesn't matter, but two loving people who are not narcissists, who haven't been abused their whole childhood, get together and raise a good human. But it just isn't that way. It seems like every single person that you talk to, myself included, we've all had childhood abuse in some fashion, and it's just making the world a shit show. Now, I love the world, I love life, I'm very blessed, I'm very fortunate, and I see this and I recognize it, and I'm grateful. But I'm just saying that you just got to protect yourself. I wish we didn't. I wish every single person had every other single person's best interest at heart, but they just don't. And not only do they not just want to go out of their way to help everybody else, they're trying to fuck us over, and they're planning on it. It's like premeditated fuckery. So, so yeah, but yeah, so. It's tricky because, once again, it's your place of work. It's how you make money. And then here's the other fucked up thing. If you do get away from that company and try to go to another one, the possibility of your narc boss and narc coworkers, flying monkeys, they could fuck things up for you at a new company. They could call them up. I mean, they could do all kinds of shit, So it's tricky. But there's a saying. What is it? You can't cheat an honest man. What that means is, I mean, obviously you can cheat anybody, but what it means is, if you're on your game and you're not doing anything wrong, not even anything a little bit shady, like you are honest and good and forthright and not sneaky and not trying to hide anything, and you honor your mistakes and you admit to them, and it's not all deception and lies and everything like that. If you're just an honest person, then nobody can sit there and say that you're the problem. They may try, but I mean, they will say it, but okay, show me proof. If you're not, and here's another thing, do not look for a job while you're at work. I wouldn't even, not only just the company, media systems, don't do that. Oh my God, please don't do that. But even, they got cameras everywhere. And they got cameras that are, they can see like what you're typing on your phone. So even if you're at lunch in the break room off the clock and there's cameras in there, or even just somebody walks in like, oh, and they accidentally catch you on, Monster or Indeed or something, looking for a job. I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. And I would not leave for lunch and go to an interview. What if somebody follows you? I know it sounds crazy. I know it's so heartbreaking that it has to be that way, but you don't know. You don't know if your coworker all of a sudden she wants to leave for lunch too and she fucking follows your ass and you pull up to a company that's exactly like theirs, you know what I'm saying? And then she videotape. I mean, just don't do anything like that. Once again, you cannot cheat an honest man. So don't do anything sneaky. Nothing. I know it's hard to do. I know. Especially when you're frustrated. You're like, oh, I just want to get a new job. I want to get the fuck out of here. But be cool. Play the game the correct way. Not in a manipulative way like these fuckers do, but unfortunately they've created a game. You're a player in it now. Be the best player. Be the quarterback, you know? Be the quarterback who is calling the shots. Do things the right way. And just protect yourself. Save everything. Save it all. And don't talk shit. I know it's hard. If you have to talk shit, get on my videos and comment. Yeah, type all the, oh, this motherfucker, guess what he did to me today? Do that. Or eventually I think what I'm gonna do is I don't know, I don't quite have time because I have a narcissist boss right now that I'm dealing with. And how I got into this, I think, I hope my video doesn't cut off here, just real quick. So I got this narc boss, although, see, I love my job. See, here's where it's tricky. I like him mostly. I love my job. I love what I do. I even love my office. I love the location. I love the hours. I love all my coworkers. I love what we do. Like, I love every single thing about it. So it's hard to break free. The money's not bad, you know, so it's tricky. But here's the deal. He showed those red flags from day one. I mean, honestly, even there was some weird shit about me even just meeting him for the interview. Yeah, from the jump, there was red flags. But I think that I was already 2 years into my narc abuse from Brian. I think had I not been in that with Brian, I think I would not have stayed with this company for as long as I have. Not that I've been there that long, but a couple years. And I think that it kind of, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure that is what kept me around, is because I was being abused so much with Brian. So now I'm getting entangled with another narcissist, you know, because, you know, we always do what's comfortable. And also my mind has just not been right for the past 5 years because of all the abuse. So like probably all those red flags that was happening with my boss, it was so like so insequential, what's the word, whatever, it like was meaningless to me because I was so involved with all the shit that was going on with Brian. I was like, well, that's I don't even give a shit, you know, abuse me, I don't even care. I don't even, you know, it doesn't even register because I'm so involved with being abused with Brian. So, you know, who knows. But anyway, okay, so protect yourself from people. Sorry it has to be that way, but it is. Okay. Have a narc free job. Bye.